Have you ever thought about a business as a living, breathing thing? Well, today we're going to do just that. We're going to break down something called Enterprise Resource Planning, or ERP, by looking at it as the central nervous system of a company.
So, let's start with that big question. What does a business really have in common with a human body? Think about it for a second. Your body has all these different systems, right? The nervous system, digestive, respiratory, and they all have to work together perfectly to keep you going. Well, a business is exactly the same. You've got sales, finance, logistics, HR, and for the whole company to be healthy and successful, all those parts have to be connected and talking to each other constantly.
But what happens when those connections are weak, or worse, not there at all? Well, you get what we call a disconnected company. Just picture this chaos. Sales has its own set of numbers in their system. Finance is over here working from a completely different spreadsheet. Meanwhile, the warehouse has absolutely no idea what sales just promised to a really important customer. Oh, and HR? They're using their own tools that don't sync up with anything else. It's kind of like the brain not knowing what the hands are doing. It just leads to mistakes, massive inefficiency, and honestly, a ton of frustration for everyone involved.
So how in the world do you fix a mess like that? Well, you give the business a central nervous system. You introduce a single unified platform that connects every single part, letting information flow freely and instantly. And that is exactly where enterprise resource planning comes in.
This really gets to the heart of it. An ERP is the software that becomes that central nervous system for a company. It's the digital backbone that makes sure every department, from the people answering phones in the front office to the folks packing boxes on the warehouse floor, is working from the very same up-to-the-minute information. It creates what we call a single source of truth for the entire business. No more guessing games.
Now, this whole idea of planning out your resources, it's not brand new. It actually got its start over 100 years ago with really basic paper-based systems in factories. But man, has the technology changed since then. We went from these giant, clunky computers in the 60s to the first truly integrated ERP systems in the 90s, and now, today, we're talking about these incredibly smart, AI-powered platforms that live in the cloud. It's been quite a journey.
Okay, so if an ERP is the nervous system, what are the organs it connects? What are the actual pieces that make it up? Let's take a look at the anatomy of a typical ERP system.
So you can think of each one of these modules as a vital organ, and they're all plugged into that central system. You've got the finance module, which keeps track of every single dollar coming in and going out. Then there's the HR module, managing your most important resource, your people. The supply chain module oversees the entire journey of your products, from the supplier all the way to the customer. And of course, CRM, which handles that all-important relationship with your customers. Each one has a very specific job, but the magic is that they all share data seamlessly. So how does a company actually get one of these things up and running? Well, there are basically two main flavors. The old school way is on-premises. That's where you buy the software and you run it on your own servers in your own building. It gives you total control, but it also comes with a pretty hefty upfront cost. The much more modern approach is Cloud ERP. Here, you're essentially subscribing to the software online. It's way more flexible, it's easier to scale as you grow, and honestly, it's become the go-to choice for most businesses these days. But why go through all this trouble? What's the real payoff? What are the actual benefits of having this kind of unity? This right here is where you start to see the incredible power of an ERP.
It really creates this amazing virtuous cycle. See, it all starts with unified, trustworthy data. When everyone in the company is looking at the same numbers, you suddenly get a huge boost in productivity. People aren't wasting hours searching for information or arguing about whose spreadsheet is right. That, in turn, leads to much better, faster decision-making because you have clear insights right at your fingertips. And all of that comes together to lower your overall risk because you have a crystal-clear, real-time picture of your entire operation. It's not just about being more efficient, it's about being smarter.
And that brings us to a really key question you might be asking yourself. How do you know if your organization even needs this kind of, nervous system upgrade? Let's play doctor for a minute and diagnose some of the most common symptoms of a disconnected business.
Does any of this sound painfully familiar? Maybe your staff is spending way too much time on manual data entry that could be automated. Or maybe just getting a clear, accurate picture of your inventory feels like a huge undertaking. How about this one? Different departments are constantly reporting conflicting numbers. Or customer information is scattered all over the place in different systems. When making big decisions is slow and painful because the data is so hard to find, these are all classic warning signs. They're the aches and pains telling you that your current systems just can't keep up with your growth anymore.
And so that really brings us to the one big question I want to leave you with. Take a hard look at your own organization, at your own team. Is its nervous system fully connected, allowing it to be agile and intelligent? Or are there little disconnects here and there that are holding it back from its full potential? Because the health of your entire business could really depend on that answer.